Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "Those who know nothing of foreign languages know nothing of their own." Well, actually, he was German. So what he really said was, diejenigen, die nichts von Fremdsprachen wissen, wissen nichts von ihren eigenen. So we see that learning another language has been shown to improve the understanding one has of one's own native tongue. Now, that's just one reason I believe everyone should learn a second language. Now, another more personal reason is to enjoy works of art in their original language. Lastly, but definitely not least, to have an increased awareness of other cultures. Now, most people don't spend their days giving much thought to the words they use or the grammar. But when you're learning another language, you become more aware of those things. Now, mostly because when learning a new word or a grammar rule, we search for the equivalent in our native tongue. Now, for example, a present participle. Now, we may have heard the term, but unless we're an English education major, we probably would be hard pressed to explain that, or I'm sure some people would have a hard time giving an example. However, when you're learning, let's say, the word hablar, which is to speak in Spanish, and you decide you want to learn to say I'm speaking instead of just I speak, well, you'll quickly learn that the present participle is simply the ing form of a verb. And now you'll never forget. So now you can see clearly how continuing that process while learning a new language will only increase your understanding of English. Now, as for the enjoying the works of art in the original language, it is near transcendental, and I'm not being hyperbolic here. The best way to explain this is to imagine one of those old kung fu films that have been horribly dubbed in English. Now, those have become a joke, and certainly no one would call them great. Now imagine a classic in English that has been dubbed in another language, like The Godfather or The Wizard of Oz. Now, could you imagine The Godfather without Brando's voice, or The Wizard of Oz without Judy Garland singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Well, that's basically how most of us watched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Pan's Labyrinth, or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and on and on. Now apply that to songs, or most importantly, books. For example, Dante's Inferno. Now, it is an influential masterpiece in English, but in Italian, it also rhymes, something the English reader will unfortunately never experience. Lastly, and I believe most importantly, you'll get an increased awareness of other cultures. Marcel Proust once famously said, "Le véritable voyage de découverte ne consiste pas à chercher de nouveaux paysages, mais à voir de nouveaux yeux." The real journey of discovery is not to look for new landscapes, but to have new eyes. Even if you never travel, by learning the new language, you will see the world from a different point of view. From simply learning the vocabulary, you can see the shared history between two languages. For example, Spanish and Arabic have quite a storied history. In fact, about 4,000 words, about 8% of the Spanish language, come directly from Arabic. And this is due in large part to the fact that the Moors controlled most of what is now Spain for 800 years. When I learned that, I became more fascinated with Arabic. And that fascination eventually led to me learning that when Arabs, say Allahu Akbar, God is great, it's the equivalent to, oh my God, or Jesus Christ in English. And that opened up my eyes, proving Proust. Now, while there are many reasons one should learn a second language, these are just the few that I appreciate the most. And as Mandela once said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart.